We're going to talk with Peter Elliott today about the Kinsman Club, one of the more active clubs that Nipigon has had, and Peter has a huge scrapbook in front of him to kind of twig his memory, but he has lots of good memories about the Kinsman Club and activities and projects that they did in Nipigon. So Peter, maybe start with your charter time and who sponsored your club.
Yeah, it looks like we were chartered on May 30th, 1970, and we were sponsored by the Kinsman Club of Hill City, Thunder Bay, North, and it was a great group of guys who came down and led us through the system, taught us all about Kinsman and fellowship and service, and it was just a fantastic group.
Who was your first?
First president was Bob Henderson. He was the manager at the Hudson Bay store here in Nipigon. Him and his wife Karen, and he, being a member of Kinsman before he came to town, of course, was instrumental in us forming the club. And again, under his presidency, we got to know what Kinsman was all about. I see lots of pictures here. A lot of members. Hill City, we did a lot of service work, but we also had some fun. I can see from the pictures here that there was a zone meeting held here in Nipigon where Jack Lamb, which was an actual lamb, was in the motel room, and it was just a lot of fun. Initiation on January 21, they put us through our paces. I should say that I think the headquarters for the Kinsman was in the basement of the Normandy Hotel. Pete Preet was so kind to let us do that, and we were downstairs, so we didn't bother anybody too much. And then, of course, we went upstairs after. But some really, really good times.
So the Kinsman, you traveled quite a bit then, according to those pictures.
Yeah, we did. We went to zone conferences and a couple of national conferences, depending on who was president and who was available to go. They were always good. When you went to the fall conferences out west, they had, I remember one in Winnipeg, or Brandon, I guess it was Winnipeg proper, where our group, Nipigon Kinsman Club, was responsible for getting everybody up in the morning to start the festivities. It's called Wakey Wakey, and sometimes it got a little carried away with chainsaws opening up doors and the carpet being mowed by lawnmowers, but we didn't have any part of that. We were a little more sedate, I guess, in that regard. But anyway, it was a crazy time. I should say one of the first projects we did as a local club was moving the playground equipment from the Cameron Falls site into the Lions Park down on, was it Duluth Street?
Yeah.
And that involved quite a bit of manual physical labor. It's a good thing we were all young and strong then, but we managed to get it all in, and that was one of our first projects.
And that merry-go-round was still the most popular thing
Yeah.
that Nipigon has ever had in a playground.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the site at Cameron, of course, was in its demise, but we were able to rescue that equipment. I don't know who let us do that, but it was fun. It was fun. When I first come to town, I got to meet and know Gladys Gordon, who was administrator at the hospital, and I did a little bit of work with the ambulance training and that. And she called me into her office one day and said, I think maybe it must have been Centennial year, where they had the seniors banquet, and of course that was '67.
Yeah.
So and we were chartered in '70. So she asked me, or told me about it, and asked me if maybe the Kinsman might be interested in reviving that. So of course I took it to a meeting, and it was an overwhelming project. Let's do that. So a bunch of us, I think Cam McWhirter was president then. We found an old Gestetner at my place, and him and I would roll off all kinds of newsletters and invitations and everything. And anyway, we had it, and it was just a huge success. We had the Hill City and the Fort City Kinsmen come down and join us, and it was just the very first thing. And I think, to my knowledge, it's been here every year since. And but that's how it really got revived, thanks to Gladdy.
And so that is a good legacy for the Kinsmen,
Yeah.
is the senior supper, which is one of the bigger socials of the year for senior people.
Right. Wow, this is brings back a lot of memories. We were distinct enough that we were held in high regard. We were few in numbers, but we were really on top of things, and people liked to come and see us. We had visitors from the district governors and the national president, and it was just an awesome time.
Was the Kinsmen involved in the playground at the arena? Did you not put the fencing around there?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, I thought I remembered Tiny being there.
Yeah, and we did okay. Wow, it's amazing. We all had hair and we were skinny. Unbelievable. I encourage everybody to drop in and look at these pictures, and I don't think it would hurt to
No.
put some writing in it where
Okay.
put the names in where they're missing. It's just there's that picture again with the costumes that Carol Zechner did. Wow.
How many people do you think you would have had in your club, Peter, maybe at the peak of your, I've seen pictures with a fair number of people.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, probably 25 or even
Okay.
more. Another project we had was we used to go door to door selling peanuts, canned peanuts, in Red Rock and Nipigon, and just to raise money, a fundraiser, and it was pretty decent.
Did you have other ways of raising money?
Yeah, I guess we did. I'm just trying to think of what all the projects we were in. Wow. Even I haven't seen this for a long time. There's a senior citizen night in '75, June. There's your mom.
Oh, was she in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the beginning, was it just Nipigon seniors, or was it always Nipigon Red Rock, Peter?
I would say it started off to be Nipigon, but then when we sent out the invitations, we said, any senior that could come, but it was a good time. Fall fishing parade. Say Bonnie and Richard and Mary and Pat, Ginny and Yarmo, Bill and Darlene Zrobeck, they were all instrumental in putting this. They were really active members, and I think they were responsible for putting this album together.
And so you had a float in the fishing festival parade
Oh yeah.
as well, for sure.
Yeah, and then we did Heritage Day. We did sponsored a lumberjack competition where John Harris and his crew come in, and they were professionals, and they put on a really great exhibition of axe throwing and log cutting and sawing. And dumb me, I didn't realize that we didn't have the money to really pay them, kind of deal. It was, but John came up to me after and says, "Pete, these guys are professionals and they're looking for some healthy prizes." So I don't know what we did there, I guess, but we weren't rich by any means. 76 marathon was chartered.
Were the Canets part of that at the beginning or later on?
Yeah, it didn't take long for the Canets to form after, and they had just a terrific group, and they were as much a part of Kinsman as probably more so than us Mellis. There's an answer to your question right there. It was. Yeah, I would say 25 to 30 members.
Okay.
There's a flag. Interesting enough, we had, when we'd have our meetings, if there was a sergeant at arms, and it didn't take much to trigger him to throw some money into the pot. But, some of the reasons were kind of far-fetched, but we did okay.
I think that's the end of it there.
Yeah, we held a reunion, and I was trying to think the other day, I thought maybe we should have a reunion before we all were not here anymore, but we had it at the golf course, and we had the kinsmen, Canettes, and wives and husbands of past members, and it was a good success. It was a lot of fun, and the deal was you had to hang on to your gavel and bell. That was just an absolute sin to lose that, and of course every other club would try to steal it, and usually with its success, and we did the same to them. But at this reunion we didn't have the gavel or the bell, and Tom Quinton come up from Scriber with his gang, Brian Birch, and they brought the bell, a bell there. It was supposedly theirs, but Cam reached over and grabbed it and looked at it, and it said Nipigon Kinsman. So we had to have a little chat with him over that. It had been missing for years and years. I think it should be here now. It should be here in the museum. Interesting stories. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. Do you have any
But
other
yeah.
questions?
No, but you're right, that's a big album, so if
Yeah.
people do come by,
Oh,
it would be worth coming and putting names in the album then.
well, absolutely. And I think if the folks did come in, they'd recognize Grandma and all kinds of relations, because we were quite a diverse group. We had a lot of different occupations, and everything was done up right. Yeah,
Okay, I think that would be a really good idea. We'll have to promote that a little bit.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Peter, for telling
Okay.
us that, because I think all the service clubs play a big part in the history of Nipigon, and Kinsman's got a legacy there, especially with the seniors. Okay, thank you very much.
It's great.